Hello, this is Reverend Don Lewis, and welcome to Living the Wiccan Life. Recently, I attended the 31st Annual Pagan Spirit Gathering held this year in Illinois, and during the festival I had the great honor of interviewing one of the leading lights of the pagan movement, the Archpriestess Selena Fox. Here is part one of our interview, and I hope that you enjoy it.
I'm Selena Fox. I'm Senior Minister and High Priestess of Circle Sanctuary, which is an international shamanistic Wiccan church that serves pagans worldwide.
And we're here at the 31st Annual PSG. And let me ask you, in 1977, 78, leading up to the first one, when it was still Pagan Spirit Alliance, hoping to have a Pagan Spirit Gathering, did you ever imagine that you would be doing this in this year?
I was taking it a year at a time back then. I did not know that the festival movement that I was part of the birthing of would grow so big, so fast. It's wonderful. There are now pagan gatherings, not only across the United States, but in countries around the world. I see these gatherings as a wonderful opportunity for pagans of different paths to come together, not only to celebrate, but to share information and to deepen their understandings of the world pagan community.
One of the things that really impresses me about PSG is the energy and the attitude that is here. And it is a very loving energy, a very kindly energy. And I think a lot of that comes directly from you.
Thank you.
You know, it's not true for every festival, it's certainly not true for every group, but here you really feel enfolded by real spirituality, by love, by people who really care. And everyone who's involved with Circle that I have met has exuded that quality. And I was wondering what you do to make that so.
I really see that part of that inclusive, loving community focus that's so pervasive throughout the Pagan Spirit Gathering really has its roots in the origins. Pagan Spirit Gathering, which I helped birth back in 1980. Yes, I came up with the name and the concept, but from the very beginning, it's been a collaborative experience. We created some foundations in terms of building community with each other. We don't have huge amounts of rules, but we do have basic foundations, and one of those foundations is that we not only need to honor the diversity, but we treat each other with respect. And that honoring and that inclusion not only includes the pagans that are present, but the greater circle of life of which we're all part, being in touch with the land and also being respectful for the regional area in which we're having the gathering. I'm very thankful that the spirit of Pagan Spirit Gathering has been one of love and working together to connect with each other and with nature in a sacred way. I think another aspect is when we've come together and formed community each year at the Pagan Spirit Gathering, which actually continues as a community throughout the year, now that online Facebook and discussion groups and other options are available. That community, though, it evolves each year as we reconnect and we deepen our relationship with each other, that the ones we know well, and we connect with new people. So that spirit is continuing, growing, changing, being fresh, being renewed, and the solid foundation of respect and care and connection with the sacred as one and as many has been there for all along, and I'm glad that continues.
One of the things I was really impressed with at last night's main ritual, because we're filming on the very last day of the festival, almost at the closing, but one of the things I was really impressed with was the invocation of the ancestors. And you shared with me a few comments about the people who were doing that, and I was hoping you could talk a little bit about that, because I thought it was very special.
Yes, we, at this site, which is our new site this year, felt it was important to not only honor the spirits of the land, but in our calling of ancestors, that we honor the Potawatomi people that once had this as part of their territory. This land has some positive history of Native American relations with those of European heritage back in the 1800s. Let me back up.
Yeah,
so
I can
in the
edit.
1800s, this land had some positive history with Native American people connecting with the Scottish people that settled here. And those good relations did continue on into the 20th century. Well, here we are in 21st century, and we thought it was important to honor those first peoples that we knew of by name and in different ways. Shine, who is a Circle Sanctuary minister, walks the Red Road. She's part Native American and lives at the Lac de Flambeau Native American Reservation, which is an Ojibwe reservation in Wisconsin. Shantae has studied with traditional elders at Pine Ridge in South Dakota and lives in South Dakota. And while the Native American roots of Shantae and Shine are different, because Shine actually has Santee as part of her mix and Shantae has some Kiowa as part of her mix, the Lakota piece that connects both of them together, and we're in that larger Great Plains area, was something we felt we had to honor as well. So we had two medicine women who are part of the pagan scene, but also are honored within Native American realms for their healing and their care and their wisdom. We had them do the calling of the ancestors in the languages that they have as part of their practice.
So we were just talking about the ancestor invocation in the main ritual, and I wanted to say that I really appreciate the way that you have involved Native American themes in Circle Wicca. And the example of Circle is one of the principal reasons that Corellians consider themselves Wiccan as opposed to something else. I don't know if you think that's a good thing or a bad thing, but either way.
I think it's a good thing. I think that the craft, even in its oldest forms, innovative, multifaceted, very much growing up from the place where it is. And I think for American pagans, one of the challenges as well as one of the opportunities is to be able to be in good relation with the local nature spirits, the larger culture of which we're part, or society, but also respect to those first peoples that were here before European contact came about. So in our own shamanic approach to paganism and the craft, we have really emphasized heart, spirit, respect, communication, understanding. And what we've had at Pagan Spirit Gathering is increasing numbers of people, not only who have some Native American ancestry, but are mostly, if not totally, Native American, feel included and safe here. So yes, there are pagan Native Americans. Not all Native Americans are pagan. Some practice some form of Roman Catholicism or Protestant Christianity or the Baha'i path or a number of other religions. But we wanted to make sure in our rites here and in our basic philosophy, we not only respect the ones that went before us, but within our community, those people who have Native ancestry and that work in respect with the wrong ancestors have a good way to do that. And this is done without inappropriate cultural borrowing, that we find good ways to converge contemporary paganism, old paganism rooted in Europe, nature religion in other parts of the world, and nature paths of Native America together. And it's really a collaborative process where those of us from many different paths can come together and share. It was wonderful to have Shantae and Shine, both who have been on the Red Road in their own ways for many years, both who have been part of the Circle Sanctuary community for many years, to be together at this event. Shine was part of the Pagan Spirit Gathering early on in its development. Shantae came later. Shine wasn't back to Pagan Spirit Gathering for many years because she moved up to be with her partner husband at the Ojibwe Reservation, Lac de Flambeau, where she has been doing work there. She works from time to time with this Native American village called Waswaganing, which is to teach people about the Ojibwe culture, or as they call themselves, Anishinaabe.
Now, you yourself have some Native ancestry, as I recall.
That's correct. The Native ancestry that I know about is through my mother's father's mother with Cherokee heritage. It's very likely there's some other Native heritage on that line as well, but because of the lack of available records to trace the genealogy, we haven't yet been able to document that. But I have a cousin who has been looking into that as well. Throughout my own priestess journey, as I have deepened my connection with my ancestors, I have felt it really important to learn about not only my own woodland, eastern woodland native roots, but to also have understanding about the other native peoples, and have been part of international interreligious multicultural gatherings, including Parliament of the World's Religions and some other gatherings where there is this convergence of people involved in traditional ways, as well as people from other world religions.
I hope you enjoyed part 1 of our interview. Join us next time for part 2, when Lady Selena discusses marriage, the universe, and everything. Until then, may you blessed be.